Hello, I am famous art filmmaker. Just kidding. Oh, God damn. Just kidding, it's me. So, I know what you've all been wondering. Winoid, where the fuck have you been for the past century? You see, the thing is, I ran out of things to talk about, but not today, hold on. For you see, I've got a new program up, hold on, for you see, we have a very special film here for you, uh, can you guess what it is insofar? I'll give you a few hints. It's part of a very successful film series, and it is the worst rated one in it. Have you guessed already? Ding 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 up blah 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 blah. So yes, this film, ooh, this film. This I cannot tell you how much. Ooh, this film. So let me take you back a bit or something. So the boss man of the channel saw this film once, and then he told me, do a review on this. I cannot allow this piece of shit to go undocumented. So like, I decided to watch it for myself for a bit, and let me tell you something right now. This is too close. This is an extreme close-up. Let me tell you something right now. This film is on my list, for one of the worst films ever made. This film is so dull that you will practically go insane from watching it. This film... Let me tell you about this film here. So, Eternals is the... Hold on a second. Eternals is the 26th film in the Marvel movie comic book series. It's a bit hard to explain the plot, because the plot is not a plot. It's more a collection of a series of events that just transpire and coincidentally formulate a plot. That is how I'd best describe it. Now you see here, it was about, it's, sorry, I gotta think for a second. I'm really struggling hard to remember this. Okay. It starts off with a Star Wars text crawl, if you can believe it. I'm not joking. It's a text crawl. And what it's about is that God is sending his angels to Earth so that they can fight all the monsters that live on there and make sure that sapient life forms become dominant among the creatures. Then it cuts ahead then after like an action sequence of like beating up these disgusting looking generic as all fuck tentacle monsters. It then cuts ahead to the modern day in London, where we see one girl is apparently in a relationship with Jon Snow, who is, I think, a poet, and they talk about the apex predator, after which an earthquake happens. Very subtle foreshadowing there, if you can believe it. So then it cuts to a monster coming out of the water. Then it immediately cuts to a completely different scene of some party somewhere in the middle of the night. And then that scene goes by, and there's like characters walking down the street. This is very confusing I cannot explain this. And then the monster from earlier shows up, and it's a giant. It looks somewhere across between Donkey Kong and a werewolf. I think I can't fully tell what it's supposed to be. And do you like Huey Lewis in the news? So, anyways, I cannot explain to you the story involves the titular Eternals, and they have to reform their band in what I assume is a Country Bears tribute, so that they can fight against the deviants, who are these giant tentacle monsters that, led by the villainous Cell. It's so this film it just at one point, one character, Superman, meets up with the protagonist, and then I don't know I can't remember what they say. It's like at a forum or something, and then keep in mind this is happening in the middle of the desert, and then they start engaging in sexual intercourse in the middle of the desert while there is still daylight, and they are just awkwardly placed along each other. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I'm not and also there are all sorts of characters. There's Superman, Queen Midas, Pepper Pan, Hephaestus, the funny guy, I can't remember his name, the Flash, the guy who can manipulate stuff, Gilgamesh. One character is I honestly thought I heard her name and thought she sounded like a space pilot. Her name is Ajax. How many more characters are in this film? So and then there was, of course, the main villain, Cell. Hold on, let me show you some. These MIDI instruments. So yeah, that's the thing apparently. That was the wolf man I mentioned previously. So sometime they established that he can sort of just absorb people with his weird tentacles, and they just and they have to stop him before he like kills them all and steals their powers. But then either halfway or not even halfway into the film, they learn that the real bad guy is God. And he reveals that he put human beings on the world so that they so that so that they can grow the planet seed from Sonic X so that it can become so that it can become another god. And so they have to stop the birth of the new god. You ever wonder if Jack Kirby just recycled one of his comic premises for the new gods? Anyways, they have to stop the birth of this new entity. They have to try and put him to sleep. But then Cell absorbs the Gilgamesh guy and then kind of becomes him but not. It's like and then here is where I began to wonder, could this be the moment that they will ponder the philosophical nature of these types of conflicts and stuff, or could this be the point where they wonder if the deviants are themselves just as much pawns in the gods' plans as the Eternals are, and if there was a way to make it so that they all could coexist together, or one of them would have to end up dying or something. They do not do this at all, and he just sort of vanishes for the rest of the film, only really showing up in the climax to die. That is pretty much it. But then it turns out that the Superman is actually working for God, and he had killed the Ajax character before the beginning of the film, and fed her to the wolves and turned them into weird beasts and so he turns against his fellow Eternals, and there's a big fight, I guess, and then they like try to put the guy to sleep, but then Superman stops them, so they're forced to turn him into a statue. So you know what? Fuck it. It doesn't matter. None of it matters anymore. So then Superman, who I forgot to mention at this point, the actual character's name is Icarus. And then we're treated to the worst shot ever, the worst visual pun I've ever seen, where he just jumps up and flies into the sun and dies. And you want to know what the worst part is? There is this website called tvtropes.org. They list this, a commonly known Greek myth, as a genius bonus. Genius bonus. What? and then like three of the Eternals I get, or four of them. I don't know how many of them. No, it was four of them. They get stolen away by God because he is punishing them for daring to go against his will. And then the three that remain, I guess, like they're suddenly visited by Penn Oswald and Harry Styles, and it turns out Harry Styles is the brother of Shrek from Avengers Endgame, but he looks human. What? And by the way, they talk about that. They say they're not allowed to interfere with human development unless a deviant is involved. But Shrek destroyed half the population of the universe. You don't want to do anything about that. That's detriment to your goals. What? And from what I hear, apparently in the comics, the reason why Harry Styles is a human and the other guy isn't is because he's poor deviant. Is that the same in the films? Do they not give? Do they not care? So yeah. So yes. This was a bad film. I give it 2 out of 10, maybe 3 out of 10 at best, 1 out of 10 at worst. I hated it. Might very well be the second worst film I have ever seen. And by the way, a thing of note. After I was done watching it, the man who is letting me squat here went free. Started playing some videos, and I saw the guys he were watching were all like, "Oh wow, man, this was a so cool movie. Let me explain all the Easter eggs and details about you. You see, all these characters who are obviously named after figures you probably would know about. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, they're based around these figures or so." Is this who this film is meant for? Just people who like Easter references to stuff and whatever? I don't care. I don't care anymore. Hey, good. Thank you for watching. This has been another Cubstalgia Critic. And goodbye.